All right. Welcome to Joseph Digital Skill Bootcamp again. This is going to be a class on printing and publication and social media designs. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. All right. So one thing you need to know about printing is the use of colors. When making flyer designs or any design at all that will be printed, the color pattern or color system that should be used should be CMYK. Okay, the color mode, you can see it here, CMYK. Meanwhile, while doing social media designs, the color mode that should be used is RGB. Now, I said CMYK for printed designs because most printers that are used for printing and pressing make use of CMYK color mode. Then for social media designs, because they are being displayed on screens, you use RGB because they will pop even more. The colors will pop more. So straight to printing, one thing you could come here, name your design, then the document type. If you were to design for an A4 or A5 or A3 or A6 design, flyer, you could just come to international paper and this is where you see all of it. Let's assume we're to design an A6 flyer. Okay, so I have everything set. One thing you need to know, if you're doing foreign designs, most of their sizes are being counted in millimeters. Okay, then when it comes to designing banners and large posters, they could be calculated, their diameters or their sizes will be calculated in feet. So if you were to design something that is so large, let's say 30 by 40 feet, all you need to do is to come here. There's no feet here, obviously. You use inches. So if you have to make 30 feet, instead use 30 inches, then 40 inches. Then I'll explain why. This is because inches is just like feet. If you notice, if you check your units for inches is just like using double of this. Then feet, you use just single of the apostrophe. So meaning that inches is just halfway of feet. That 12 inches make 1 feet. So just get that. So we're going to go back to our international paper and A5 and going to click on OK with my color mode set to CMYK. So one other thing you need to know before designing is how to use your guides. Now, this is your paper. You should know that your design should not get to the border. And in order to guide yourself through that, you use your rulers. You can click on the ruler and drag a guide down. Let's say we're using 2 millimeters. You can put that here on this side, another 2 here on this side. Then we want to do for this down part, all we need to do, because it's starting from the zero is starting from this part, right? And there's no zero here. In order for me to be accurate, I can come to this end and drag my guide down to this part here. And now you can see my zero is starting from here and my zero is starting from here. So I can now easily drag a guide to this point and do the same thing for the horizontal guide, like so. So right now my artboard is set up for printing. So the next up, we need to start our design. Let's assume I wanted to do a simple flyer design or for a boat. So I could just go to my downloads. I can drag and drop any picture of my choice. Let's say I'm designing for a company that sells boats. I could just drag my picture and place it. You know, my picture can get to the border, and I'm gonna make my design like so. Okay, so next, I'm just gonna continue my design. Let's say I have another rectangle right here, like so, and I'm gonna change the color and use something related. I'm moving the stroke. And I'm going to pick a color that is related to the boat. Okay, I think this should be good. And there I have that. So my square is not in the middle. I can come to my layers panel, highlight, hold control, click on my background, and come to this part to align it to the middle. All right. So next, I want the top of this square, this rectangle, to fade into the picture. So all I need to do is to create a layer mask, then go to my brush tool, and this is it. We have this. Then I can reduce my flow to 27 or increase it a little bit more to about 79, and I brush on this. You can see the effect, right? Now that's giving me a transparency, and I think that's a little bit too much. All I can do, I can increase the size of my rectangle and or hold on shift and do this. So that's that. So then I have my title. That is the title of my design. Oh, I simply clicked on that. So I'm gonna add the title. Speedboat rentals. Okay, so there we go. I have that. I'm going to change the color of my font to white, just so that there's contrast between my font and my background. Then use something really, really bold. I think I'll go for a script font here. I'm going for script and do for something really good. Okay. Let's check decorative. All right. I think this should be it. And I think my all caps is fixed, so I have everything here. So you can see, if I should click on this capital T and capital T, it makes my text to be all caps. If I unclick it, make this small caps, makes it flux italic, and you can see flux bold. So I'm gonna increase this just to make my design more exciting. I'm gonna do this, and how about I use my brush, create a new layer, use my brush, reduce the size a little bit. Then I'm gonna add an effect to my title using a dry brush. So you can see the dry brush media here. So there we go. I'm gonna increase the brush size a bit. Then I'm gonna add a line. Just like my flow is a bit too small. So I'm gonna increase my flow to 100% and change the color to white. And there we go. So I can add a line here. And there we have it. I think the second one is into good. So there we have this. We're going to move this down a little bit. Then we can have the body of our flyer. Let's say there are some important statements that should be made or important content. I'm going to add them right here using a sans serif font. I really love using sans serif fonts. So I think I'll go for Franklin Gothic, then looking for book. Okay, then align to the left, then reduce to 14 points. Remember, in an official document, when typing, your text should not be smaller than 11 points or 11 points here. So use a font size of at least 11 points, just so it is readable. So I can go back to my move tool and arrange that. I can also decide to duplicate this and put another information right here. And there we go. We have that. Then if there is any other thing like a date or something, I can add those to the bottom of my design, or something like a contact information or something. Can add that bottom of my design. Let's say I use my square and I can just to make it stand out, remove the stroke, then increase the corner radius. It's about 60, and I have that. Then I can now put in the text. Let's say 090 space 77 space then we have our contact details there, like so. And I'm gonna move this straight to the middle of this and give it a color, give it the color of my background. Then I think here we need it bolder. So I think this should do. Then need the size a little bit bigger, say 18, and we have that as our contact information. So that's just a quick design for a flyer. So now we go to printing. There's just one little tip I'm going to give everybody. Before exporting your design, you could just click on the topmost layer here and hold Alt, Control, Shift, and so Alt plus Control plus Shift, you hold them, three of them down, and you press letter E. So you hold down Alt, Control, Shift, and E, and you have this. Then you can come to your filter and apply a. If this was to be an artboard, I think, okay, let me try converting it to a smart object first. Okay, just so that you do not alter any changes you've made to your design, you can now right click on this and export. It's better exporting as PNG because it's going to have a higher quality than a JPEG, obviously. So export as PNG. photos, and I can choose PNG, fill the transparency, ensure everything here is all good, and I click on export. Then pick a place to save my file, and let's say I save it on downloads as flyer. And there we go. So next, I'm going to show you a quick social media design. So like I said, to do social media design, you know the normal Instagram size, you create new normal Instagram size, let's say IG design. Use normal Instagram size. I already saved mine here. There are two Instagram sizes. For portraits, we have 1080 by 1350. But for a regular Instagram, you can use 1080 by 1080. And ensure the color mode is RGB. And we say okay. So for this particular design, you could do the same thing, add your guides. This time around, I think I'll prefer to use a 0.5 or a 50 mm guide. So do the same thing here. Click on the corner of my ruler and drag and put my vertical guide. And there I have my bottom horizontal guide. So there we go. Then next, I'm just going to place an image. I think I already have that open here. So I'm going to be using this image, and let me use my selection rectangular marquee tool and select a portion, go back to my move tool, drag it, my other tab, and I paste it here. Then I can drag this until it fills the screen. Okay, so I can hold this and highlight both of them and ensure they are both in the middle. So I'm going to lock this back. Then I'm going to add a color to my background. I'm going to use this gradient. This gradient, I created it with Adobe Illustrator, and I can hold the control key. When you unlock this, I can hold the control key and click on this layer. It automatically selects the entire layer, and I go back to my move tool and I click and drag and drop it on top here. Then I can close this. No. So let's make this properly fit into our background. So now I'm going to show you using a blending mode. I'm going to use the blend mode color on this, and there we go. You can see the effect. So you can try out other blending modes on whatever you want to use. Depends on what you want to achieve. So I prefer color, and color goes well for me on this. So the next thing, I'm going to add my caption. Let's say we're doing a Happy New Month design. So using my horizontal type tool, so I'm going to say welcome to So I'm going to highlight that, change the color. I'm going to use the color of FF6600. That is an orange, making this big, a little bit bigger. Then, and we're in August, right? So I'm going to add another text, August, all in capital letters. So going back to my move to, increase this, then I'm going to change my font type. Let's go to all classes. And I'm looking for a really slim font. Okay. Let's see. And I find what I'm looking for. I'm gonna click on it right away. That is Futura. Know what I'm looking for. Know what I'm looking for. Exactly what I'm looking for. So this is where we are now. Welcome to August. Grace, can you hear me? Okay, it's out. All right, so I'm gonna use an effect on this to make it bold. Then I'm going to use bevel and emboss on it. So I'm going to increase my depth, reduce the softness, increasing the size, and cancel this. Use something. I think this should go well. Then reduce the kerning.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, Rollins, can you hear me?
Yes. I'm just trying to record the class. I'm just doing something, then I'll upload on YouTube. You're gonna watch when it gets strength.
Mm, oh,
So duplicating this, holding Alt, clicking and dragging, converting it to rasterizing the type, then I can do this, holding Shift, then holding Control, I can click and drag it to the left. Then I'm going to create a layer mask, clicking on my brush, change it to something soft, and going to increase the size. No, why it's no longer showing, but here's what I'm. Then give this a blending mode or multiply. Multiply is best used for shadows. And increasing this, let me change this font to Ubuntu. So there we go. And lastly, to add my character. So I can just use a quick select subject Then there's a little bit of errors here. Select this part. Then I click and drag. Same right here, make it smaller so it looks more realistic. Then I can come under the layer, Ctrl Z, create a new layer there, use my brush, do something dark. Battery is about to die. Then I can add something like a shadow to it. Then I can reduce the opacity. Then I can use my eraser to correct that. Making it small. Let's use a softer brush. And there we go. So we have our social media. Then lastly, click on the topmost layer, Ctrl Alt Shift E. Then you can apply a camera raw filter just to balance the colors. Increase the blue a little bit, increase the exposure, probably 2 steps, increase the contrast, then texture, just so everything comes popping, clarity, and increase the vibrance. Vibrance is like a control saturation. I click on OK. Then you can right click, export as. Since it's for social media, you can export as JPEG instead. And boom, save. And there we have our design. So that's just everything that we need to know about doing social media design and print designs. So I'm going to be stopping the recording now.